Are you ready to stop searching outside yourself and deepen the connection that matters the most?
Welcome to the Sacred Exchange podcast. We are your hosts, John and Catherine Graham.
After years of navigating our own spiritual paths, we have learned that true transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the honest and vulnerable moments when we are willing to journey within with a curious mind and heart.
Every week, we invite you to journey with us as we share our spiritual ahas, our raw truth, and deepen our understanding of the human experience.
This is a space of vulnerability and healing, where souls meet, hearts transform, and love leads the way. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sacred Exchange. And we have quite a bit to talk about this week. But essentially, I'm going to say the overall arc is about distortions.
Yeah.
But there are lots of different threads. So
yes.
Let's just dive into it.
Yes, let's dive into it.
Yes.
So to get things started, I mean, we talked a little bit earlier in the week about the distortion of good and bad, right?
Yeah.
Like, people really not being able to see the good because there's so much bad, because this is what we know, because this is the world we're in at the moment. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to understand or decipher between good and bad. Yeah.
Well, and I think there's a lot of distrust in our society, right? Well, I perhaps for a while, but specifically right now, it's almost like everybody that I'm talking to is thinking that everyone else is just trying to do a wrong thing, but we don't necessarily have facts that are saying this person is choosing to do wrong.
Right.
Right? And there's a lot of assumptions that are being made, but I feel like what is happening for people as a whole is that they're just not trusting that other people have good intent. Right? And yet at the same time, when they're speaking, they're talking about all of the good they're doing in the world.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's been kind of an interesting thing to see. So you think this is good, therefore it kind of erases all of your other mistakes or misgivings that you might have or not have or whatever. But this one mistake that this other person has made, or this one action that they've taken, you're seeing that as an attack on you. And really, they could also just be trying to do good, but perhaps in a different way than what you allow yourself to see good or receive good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been, I don't know, it's difficult because I see it in a number of different ways where people are talking and, you know, the underlying, like what they're trying to accomplish, they're all good things.
Yeah.
But perceived as bad or perceived in a different way, right? So their real focus is, I'm trying to do this for the betterment of whatever, la la la, and it's not being received that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just found it was very interesting, and it wasn't just, you know, it was consistent last week where it was a number of different conversations that I just overheard or witnessed or whatever that, you know, you can see that the people are really trying to do good, but maybe the way they're presenting it, or maybe the way it, either that or the way it's being received. And I kind of we talked a little bit about, you know, the transceiver receiver and that alignment as well. So.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we always seem to go through these themes together.
Yeah.
Or it's almost like we're having these different experiences and then we're going, what is the underlying theme that's happening here? And I also was having experiences with people where I was talking and saying whatever I might be saying, but they weren't able to receive what I was saying, or I was trying to find different ways to bring the same message forward that was not saying anything different than perhaps what I told them yesterday or the day before. But it's always about finding what is the language, or what is the right key to get in here to help this person receive what it is that I am trying to get them to receive, right? Yeah. Which I was finding kind of frustrating, because I was like, I keep saying this same message over and over again, and I had that kind of epiphany on I think it was Tuesday night, where I realized that I was getting frustrated trying to prove a point. And truly, if someone takes my point or not, that part doesn't matter. But it's like, to me, life becomes so much easier when you allow yourself to see that, hey, life is supporting you, or hey, you're a loved person, or hey, you're supported, or whatever the case might be. And in that moment of frustration to epiphany, it was kind of this idea of, how many times do I have to say it to prove a point? To, oh, right, I am so devoted to this message, I will say it as many times as it takes for the person to be able to receive it. And I mean, it goes into that idea of, with the receiver, what are they willing to receive?
Yeah.
How much are they able to receive? Because if they've been told, I'm not lovable.
And how, not only how much, but what is that frequency they can receive on, right? Because some people can't. They just, or don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very much of the same, my analogy is run the same play until you get it right, or until it sinks in. You just make little adjustments, but you keep doing that over and over and over and over and over, because you're committed to this.
Yeah.
Whatever this is.
Yeah, and I really needed to, I guess, kind of hit that wall with that, so that I could, I guess, remind myself that, right, keep proving the point. Who cares how many times it takes? Who cares how long it takes?
Yeah.
If this is what I'm truly committed to, why am I worried about how many times I have to try it?
Yeah, I think you said something that was really beautiful there, and I think probably most people missed it, was, you got frustrated by your trying to do this, say this message.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and myself, yourself included, we get frustrated thinking it's the person, right? Yeah. We're saying the same message over and over and over and over and over and over again. And we get frustrated with the person, or we use the person as a target.
Yes.
For our own doing. Like, okay, you're doing the same thing, it's not sinking, maybe making a little adjustment.
Yeah.
But we get frustrated at them thinking, you're not getting this, you're not getting this, you're not getting this.
Yeah.
When really we just need to go back and go, okay, the message is going to be the same, but I'm going to try a different approach.
Yes.
Or I'm going to tweak this, or message it a little differently, or try to figure out how they can receive it better, right?
Yeah. And I think for myself, like when I came to that kind of point of frustration where it's like, oh, you have a choice here. The big part for me was realizing the frustration that I was having was not about the person, because I understand they're going to receive it when they're going to receive it. It was from feeling like I've already done this 100 times.
Yeah.
So why do I need to keep making that same point, right? Like I've already told you 100 times I love you. So why do I need to keep telling you? And it's like, if I truly love someone, I'm going to tell them as many times as they need in order to believe it. Because even though it might not be me that has caused them to not feel loved, if I truly love someone, why would I not want to continue to reaffirm to them, yes, I love you. Yes, I'm here for you. Yes, let out all of your garbage. Whatever it is, I am here and I'm never going anywhere. And they might push me back. And also, that's okay. I understand you're getting used to someone loving you, and it takes a lot of practice. Yeah. So I will be this kind of solidity that you need. And instead of going, I've already told you. Why do I need to keep showing you that I'm going to be there for you? Why do you keep questioning me?
Yeah.
And just really going, right, it's okay if they do that. It's not a reflection of me. It's because they're wounded.
Yeah.
Right? And here's the thing. I've done the same thing to people, right? Where I question that love, where I question the support or the amount of care or whatever. And sometimes it's because of actions that I'm seeing that I'm like, that doesn't seem like a very caring action. But a lot of times what's actually happening is I've got wounds that are triggered and I'm just needing that external validation, right?
Yeah.
And so if I can imagine if that's true for me, well, that's most likely true for every human, or 99% of the humans, or 80% of the humans.
Yeah, a lot, for sure.
Yeah, and to just remember that, because I think when we get frustrated, with people not being able to receive, we end up kind of reaffirming to them, right? Like, no, I don't love this part because look at the way you're acting or whatever. And it only kind of re-solidifies these kind of beliefs that they already have going on. But if we can maintain that kind of stability of, I'm just going to love you, no matter what, I'm just going to love you. Or I'm just going to keep on trying because this is important to me or you're important to me or whatever the case might be, then it does start to shift it a little bit.
No, I agree. And that's what I was saying about, just changing things up a little bit or, trying to understand them better as to how you can communicate to them, right?
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about, I think it's Einstein that says it, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Yeah, so I was going to bring this up, and then I had continue on because I had posed the other side of that question, an alternate side of that question, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting because we've been taught this, that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, and yet I'm like, but that's also called commitment, right? Like I've never questioned that statement before.
But you're not expecting, well, this is kind of the statement that I made. So the definition of insanity, yes, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Yeah.
But I said, what is it called when you do the same thing over and over and you're expecting the same results, not expecting a different result?
Yeah.
What is that called?
Yeah.
Is that commitment? Is that consistency? Is that, maybe you're not expecting the exact same result, but we all get up in the morning. We all go to sleep at night. These are, by definition,
things that we do over and over again, and we expect the exact same thing to keep happening. Yeah. Well, I understand what you're saying, and I don't know what it's called.
Maybe somebody does.
I'm going to come back to the expecting different results, because when you brought that up, it kind of brought up some questions in me where it's like what I've done myself and what I've heard from other people is like, well, I already tried that. It didn't work, so I'm not going to do it anymore, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like the thing that they've tried is, well, I tried to listen to them, but they wouldn't speak up. So that's not going to work, right? And it's like we have to create consistency with some things, right? We have to be insane enough to sit and listen to silence 100 times before someone feels safe enough to speak to us, right? We have to be committed to loving someone through all of their wounds over and over and over again until their wounds start to dissolve.
And that's kind of where I was going with. You're expecting the same results, right? You're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That person's not going to receive it. Or you whatever.
They may or may not be able to,
But you're going to continue on doing that, right? You're not expecting anything different. What if it happens?
Amazing.
It's great.
Yes.
But if not, you're still continuing that journey no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter, if this comes up or that comes up. Nope, this is the journey that I'm on, and I'm going to continue.
Yeah. I'm just going to show up as love. Yeah. That's it. And how you want to receive that, amazing. And I think with that kind of realization this week, what it ended up doing was taking my idea of if I show up and I give love and I give support and they can't receive it, then before I would feel frustrated, and it almost creates a structure around it, right? Like this is the whole point, is for us to get you from point A to point B. And if you're still not at point B, that's disappointing for me. Yeah. Well, that's not loving, right? I don't want to have that pressure on people that you need to get to this point. It's let me meet you wherever you are. Yeah. And let me just show up as this energy that can hold whatever it is that you're bringing forward. And wherever you get in this part from our interaction right now, that's enough. Right? Which allows it to actually be a lot more spacious instead of like, I really wanted you to get this message today and to feel better today.
Yeah, so it's almost just going along with our little doing the same thing over and over. It's doing the same thing over and over and having no expectation of what those results are.
Yes.
Right?
Which is so much more freeing.
So, because we you and I talk a lot about the alternate and opposite and whatnot, and that's kind of where that mind or that track went was, okay, if this is the definition of insanity, what's this? And then to have no expectation, is that, where does that lie, right?
Yeah.
And I do think that we do have to have that consistency. We do have to do things over and over again. And the best way to approach it is to have no expectation. It's very, very difficult. It's something that we've been practicing, for a while now, but it is very difficult.
Yeah.
Because we live in a world where, yes, there's a lot of repetition, and you expect that somebody is going to, whatever, be there, do this, do what they're supposed to do, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But as soon as we've experienced this, as soon as you have that expectation, or as soon as that expectation isn't met, you start to feel, bad, or also disappointed.
Yeah.
And it is not the other person or anybody else that has made that expectation but you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it all turns out and it is consistent, and you've done the same thing over and over and over again, and you get the same results, great. But if you don't, that's great too.
Yeah. It's been such an interesting week. I feel like there was a full moon this past week, and there was a lot of big emotions for people, is how I was kind of experiencing the week. I also was experiencing some pretty big emotional stuff.
Absolutely.
And I know you were as well.
Yeah.
And in that, we became kind of hyper aware of different distortions that were at play. And a distortion is essentially anything in reality that is kind of glitching in your life, or that you're not able to see through clearly, or you're not able to feel through clearly. Or we were having some issues with our communication with each other where there was distortions and stuff that were at play. So that's essentially what we mean by distortions.
Yeah.
And I don't believe there was expectations. Like when I look at our own personal experiences with each other, there wasn't expectations.
No.
It was almost like old wounds kind of coming up and going, hey, here I am. So I was like, daddy finger here. It's like the wound shows up and goes, here I am, how do you do? Anyways, but with that, I think we were both aware we've got wounds that are coming up here. And I think we were both trying to navigate how do we deal with these wounds while also holding space for ourselves, for each other, without having expectation of where this is supposed to go,
Yep. And the great thing, like we take with these situations, is you'll talk about what's going on in your life, in your realm. I talk about what's going on in my life. When we kind of compare stories, are there similarities? Is there an undertone that's the same?
Yeah.
And then we usually blow it out to like the broader, the world,
microcosm,
or like my
or
work,
macro.
your work, and then we just keep going and expanding it. And is that the same? And that's one thing we did find, that there's a lot of similarities between what your experience was, what my experience was personally.
Yeah.
And then
within our relationships, within our work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
going out into the world.
Yeah.
Right? Because, right now we've got a war that's happening. And if you ask people of either side of the war, are you doing the right thing? They'll all say yes.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, well, how can both of you be right on that? But in their perspectives, they absolutely are right.
Yeah.
And to bring that down to like a personal level, you're right and I'm right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and just to bring it down to that, we did find out that in some of the situations that we were both experiencing, there was some expectations that weren't met, right? There were some assumptions, like assuming that, you just know.
Yeah.
And there was that distortion.
Yeah.
But what we found that was very interesting was that's when the ego kicked in and was like, oh, this is personal. And it was never like, it was, you're having this experience, I'm having this experience, and we're both assuming that we're having the same experience. We're not.
Yeah.
So then there's this distortion that's created, and then ego was like, oh, so you don't like, you don't like me, blah, blah, blah. Not to that, but you know what I mean? That's where the ego started kicking up, and it was just like, hey, well.
Because like typically I have like the awareness of my ego, and then I've got the awareness of what I call my higher mind. Yeah. Right? And so I can hold space for what my ego is feeling, and I can bring it to the higher mind, and I can allow the higher mind to lead forward for whatever conflict might be coming up, whether it's with you or anybody else. And what I noticed on, I guess it was Tuesday night, what I noticed on Tuesday night was I had awareness of my higher mind, and I had awareness of the ego.
Yeah.
And my higher mind was going, hey, just do this one thing and everything will be settled. And I was like, nope. I know that's what I need to do. I know I need to choose love. I know that's the best choice. I'm not doing it. I want him to do it first. And it was like so amazing how self-centered my ego was in like just trying to get you, and that's where the expectation comes in, is like, I want you to be the one to lead the way here because I don't want to. Yeah. And if I had just simply went, you know what? There was a misunderstanding. It's fine. Let me lead with love. But yeah, my ego was like, no, we are not leading with love today.
They both were. And then, we had a good conversation. And then we looked at, really, this is what's going on in the world.
Yes.
When you blow this up into these big events like the war or whatever, and even things smaller than that. I mean, we kind of re-looked at the situations and the scenarios throughout the week. And it's like, yeah, this is the same energy. Yeah. It's the same battles being played out in all of these different fronts. It's the same energy. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, and what's so interesting is a lot of times when we look at something like the war that's happening, we would go, that needs to stop. There needs to be peace. But then we have to ask ourselves, and I contributed to it this week, because instead of choosing peace, I chose to go to war. Right? I was like, no, I'm not going to back down on this. I'm not going to be loving. I'm not going to be peaceful. I want them to be the loving, peaceful one. And so I'm just contributing. I'm adding into that kind of energy of conflict. And for each of us individually, how often are we allowing ourselves to choose to be angry about something, or to be justified in our anger, or to see another person as the bad guy, who they're the ones who need to do this before I'm going to ever, do whatever. And then we get upset that there's war. It's like, but this is the only war I can control.
That's
right.
That's right. Yeah.
So let me find peace within myself. Let me find peace within my relationships. And again, let love lead me. Right. And so we have to remember, love is a choice. It's not just an energy that we all just are, oh, we're all love. No, it's a choice. You have to make that choice every day, or you get to make that choice every day. Do you want to be love, or do you want to be anger?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a lot of things that happened, big things that happened that...
Oh, yeah.
That caused this, right? It wasn't just like, somebody didn't do the dishes. It was external things.
Yes.
That didn't cause like immediate or like changes or whatever, but it distracted our minds.
Yes.
To something else.
Yes.
In two different ways.
Yes.
Which then there's still life that's going on here.
Yes.
And that's kind of where, again, we blew it up to the rest of the world, where it's like this battle, what we're experiencing really is what is going on in the world. And we all really do have to just choose love.
Yeah.
And we all, yes, your ego is going to be there. I've never, a lot of people, I want to get rid of my ego and this and that. I don't think,
you can't
I've
get
said
rid
it
of
for
it.
a long time, but it's not the way to go.
No.
You need to harmonize with your ego.
Yeah. Yeah.
And come to that place like, I've got you.
Yeah.
Your ego will take care of you. So you got to tell them, I'll take care of you too, right? And I think you blow that up to the world. We really just need to have that mindset and remember that we have a choice. We get to choose.
Yes. Well, and it's so interesting because as you say it, and it's something that I repeat a lot too, right? Like you get to choose every single moment. You get to choose what path are you going to take it. And there has been so many people that have said to me, I don't see how I have a choice. Like, how could I not be angry about this? Or how could I not be whatever about this? And I get it because I've been there before where it's like the anger was so much bigger than the ability to be able to see a different choice. Right? And it's like all you could see was through the lens of anger and the unjustification and the unfairness and whatever. And so I understand if people are like, I don't have a choice. I am just angry. It's like, okay, that's great.
But that is a choice.
It is a choice, yes. But what I'm saying is there is a point, I think, in everybody's life, and I know I've experienced it with you before too, where if I said to you, your anger right now is a choice 10 years ago, I don't think you'd be able to receive it.
No, I agree. You can't, and this kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier, is you have to be on the right frequencies to be able to receive and transceive things, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, you hear it or not, that is truth.
Yes.
We all have a choice.
Yes.
And we can choose to be mad, we can choose to be angry, we can choose to not like what's going on, but that is what's going on.
Yes. Yes.
So we don't have to be angry about it. We don't have to be angry that somebody didn't take out the garbage or do this. We have a choice to be angry about it or do something about it.
Yes. And so I just wanted to talk to the people who might not feel like they have a choice.
No, absolutely. Like anything and everything that, and I've said this about our podcast, is people are only going to be able to receive this if they're on that same frequency.
Yes.
Right? And no, when you're not on the same frequency or the message that somebody's putting to you or transmitting to you is not resonating, it's not going to resonate.
Yeah, it
You're
doesn't
not going to
matter.
hear it. It's going to sometimes make it worse. It's
Yes.
going to be like, okay, now you know what? I was pissed off at this person. Now I'm pissed off at you. Because you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're telling me that I shouldn't be angry or that I have a choice to be angry. I don't. Look at all the stuff that's happened.
Exactly.
I'm just angry.
Exactly. And that's the point that I wanted to talk to, because I know it was an experience that I had for a very long time where it was like, I get that I'm a creator of my life, but I don't see how I'm creating this, right? And when I was in this anger or I was in this grief, it didn't feel like I had any choice whatsoever but to just be in that emotion. And now being on the other side of that, for the most part, sometimes, obviously this week I did have emotions that came up that I was like, I'm choosing this now, and I was willingly choosing to go into anger and willingly choosing to feel what I needed to feel, whatever. Knowing where I'm at now, I can see how it was a necessary step for me to get to where I am now. Because I think for a lot of people, what happens is when we're young people, we suppress all of our emotions, right? You don't feel any of them. And then as you start to kind of grow and you're starting to heal and stuff, there's going to come a time where expressing your anger and feeling your anger and whatnot is like, this is the most empowering feeling ever. Right? So necessary step,
Absolutely.
But don't get stuck there.
Absolutely.
And that's where a lot of people end up getting stuck is I've got my voice now, I'm in my power, I'm angry, and they need to change. And it's like, no, they don't. I got caught there.
Yeah.
Right? And what it ends up being is like a spiritual bypass ego that goes, I'm better than them, because they're now the ones making me angry. And look at me, I'm healing, I've got a voice, I'm in my power, la-di-da-di-da.
Yeah.
They need to change, they need to change, they need to change. But it's like we block ourselves there and we never reach that next level, which is just that love, that acceptance, and going, and even that accountability of why do I keep creating this experience for myself, right?
Yeah.
So it's a necessary step, but also just don't get stuck there.
Yeah, and I think it's great to understand that process. Yes, at some point in your life, you're right, you need to be angry, and you need to feel, and you need to know,
Yeah.
This is how this is. But yeah, you also need to understand that it is not yours to own. Nobody owns anger.
Yeah.
You choose this way.
Yeah.
Sure, you can express it, and you're absolutely right, is don't stay there. Don't stay, because you become a prisoner of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just let it go. You have a choice to either be upset, be angry, be whatever in that emotion or that moment.
Yeah.
Or you don't have to be. And I know that's really, really hard, and it's something, again, we practice, but we don't always get it right.
No, absolutely not.
But it is so much more freeing just to have that kind of mindset where it's like, yeah, I can choose to be worried about these things.
Yeah.
And my mind, my human mind is going to try to figure this out. But in the big, grand scheme of things, I have to surrender that to God. I can't control what goes on in the world.
Yeah.
And
one of the quotes that I seen, I don't know when, essentially said, worrying is just focusing on a future you don't want. Right? And so the idea of worrying and, what if, and what if, and what if, and what if.
I always call it the what ifs. Right?
You're just literally manifesting or putting a lot of energy into scenarios that you don't want.
Yeah.
Right? And so to me, the antidote to worrying is to really go, what is it that I do want? And if you tell yourself that's not possible, or I can't see how that could happen, then focus on that much more.
Yeah.
Right? Because our brains have been programmed to look for what is safe, what is comfortable, and what has worked in the past. The brain only knows what's worked in the past. But if you can tune into your heart and your soul and go, okay, so what else is possible? Then you're actually connecting in with the universal energies. And you can open the door to, it wasn't possible in the past, now it's possible, right?
Yeah, and it's a good point. And I'm very much of the what is now, right?
Yep.
Yes, there's a part of me that will get lost in the what ifs, but there's a different part of me right now that is like, no, what is now? What happened before happened before.
Yeah.
And it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
I know that we all like to base everything on the past, but you're also creating your future.
Yes.
So you can't just take this. Let's talk about right now.
Yeah.
And move from here. What is the best, or what is from here on?
Yeah. And yeah, when I say we automatically look at the past, our brains have been...
Oh, yeah.
It's the only way the brain knows what is, right? Like it's like the past is our data center for how life works.
We've been programmed that this life is a very linear journey.
Yeah.
And the quantum physics and just our evolution has proved that it probably isn't just that start-finish linear race. There's more to all of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was watching a part of Mayim Baik's, I think I'm saying her name correctly, her podcast, and she was talking about, it's really cool because she's kind of crossing the wire between neuroscience and like spirituality right now. And so I told you that she had Bashar on her podcast, which was awesome. But she was also talking about how she believes that psychics and intuitives and that sort of thing who talk to people who are crossed over, she's like talking about the different dimensions that are available to each of us. And just because someone dies in this specific dimension doesn't mean that they're not alive in 12 other dimensions. And so with a psychic or intuitive, when they're connecting with someone who's crossed, she's like, they might actually just be connecting with them in this other dimension because they know that the dimensions overlap and stuff, and that we can access different dimensions through different things. And I just thought it was really cool when you talk about linear time. It's what timeline are we in right now? And can I quantum jump into the timeline that I truly desire?
Yeah, we got to remove the line piece.
Yeah.
Because that that start finish, I think, really limits us in our minds, right? And what we're thinking is, we think, you're born and you die. Yes, you have this journey that through that time.
Yeah.
But there's science to say that there's many lives being lived.
Absolutely.
And experienced in different dimensions, in different time space at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I find so fascinating, and to talk about what ifs, because I go into kind of what if scenarios where it's not like, what if this bad thing happens, but more like, well, what if it happens like this? So my example of that is like, I love to see patterns that happen, and I love understanding how am I creating what is happening now. And so one of the experiences that we had come up this week, there was a ping that I kind of got where it was like, what if this exact scenario here was caused by this generational pattern from back here, and because this experience that this person had couldn't be spoken about, and someone needed to take the attack or the blame or whatever for what this experience was,
and then karma.
And then it ricochets up through the family line, and now there's this experience that's happening that's like, what in the world, how could this ever possibly happen? But it's like it had to ricochet or ripple through the family line, and now here it is. So consciously we did not choose for this to like be created in the family line, but no one was able to see the pattern of the distortion prior to this moment now. So no one knew to stop it, right? It's like sending a bowling ball down the lane, and that person in the past was the person who sent that bowling ball down, and now there's just one pin that's standing and it's got to get hit. Right? So we don't get those little bumpers on the side. So I like to go into those what if scenarios of what if this is possible, and if it is, how can we correct it?
And there's an interesting thing that we both do, because you're very much on the spiritual side. And
Absolutely.
not to say that I'm not, but I get more into the...
You get very
scientific. I start getting into
scientific.
scientific pieces, and I get into this piece.
Well, and it's beautiful because they work so well together when I can understand what you're saying.
But there's so many things that are very similar that we can't prove on the spiritual side that they're proving in quantum physics. And it's like, oh, hey, if it can be done here... What do you think we are? We're energy too. So you have to go and
see, I always get a little bit triggered when someone goes, we can't prove it in spirituality, right? And I'm always like, spirituality is the only thing that people absolutely require proof for before they'll allow themselves to believe it. And it is the most invisible thing that there is on this planet, other than a feeling that people have inside, or a knowing that people have inside. And interestingly enough, we constantly look out here to find proof of spirituality. Meanwhile, it's in here. That's the only place you're going to find God. It's within yourself.
Which I do find is interesting, because there's plenty of different faiths that you don't need to prove. When you say something, I have faith in whatever that is. Nobody's asking you to prove it. But when it comes to, and to me, faith and spirituality are the one and the same. But I know that there is, in some circles, it's different, right? But it's like, you don't ask, a Catholic or to prove that they have faith. You believe they have faith in God. But when it comes to spirituality, well, all of a sudden you need proof to have that faith. And it's like, no, I don't. I don't need to prove anything. But I do find it between the two fields, it's like, it one supports the other.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what I think is really great.
Absolutely.
It's like, we're not talking about, a person or a deity or whatever. We're not talking about somebody that did X, Y, and Z. We're talking about things, feelings, emotions, mindset
Yeah.
When those things line up with the way quantum physics work,
Yeah.
that's when I'm like, there is your proof.
Yeah.
It's that mirror, right? The alternate,
Yeah.
not the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Our distortion is the middle. It's like, okay, this is this and this is over here, but it's all this.
Well, and sometimes that distortion becomes such a block to another person's kind of point of view.
Right.
Right? Or sometimes even where we ourselves have limited ourselves to go, because like I could go, oh, well, I'm spiritual, so I don't like anything that's science. Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
Because I could say when I was younger, wasn't a huge fan of science. I found it to be very boring. But as I've gotten older, and especially as we have conversations where I can ask you to like explain this to me in layman's terms, like what does that mean?
Yeah.
But I'm allowed to take it into a spiritual sense,
Yeah.
right? And as soon as I can take it into that spiritual sense and then kind of get that feedback from you or whatnot, it helps me to get so excited about science because I'm like, what else can science teach me about spirituality? And what else can spirituality teach me about science? Because I can see them coexisting and dancing together so beautifully. And yet everybody thinks they're like on these opposite spectrums, and they're not. They can be so interlinked.
I agree. And what I think the big problem is the distortion is our acceptance that it all is all, right? So spirituality and physics and quantum physics, they're the same. They are all linked together.
Absolutely.
All religions, all faiths, all everything is linked together. It's our acceptance that of, okay, you call it this, I call it that. There is no difference. But we have, as we were talking last week about labels and differences,
Yeah.
that's where we get stuck.
Yeah.
Is, nope, that's yours, this is mine.
Yeah.
And they're not the same because this is what this is, and they're the same.
But and I mean I think we've talked about this before on the podcast too, about how often we look almost like a predetermination of what are our differences, right? What can keep us apart?
Oh yeah.
Right? And which goes back to the very beginning of today's session where it's talking about the distrust that people have, looking for differences and what keeps us different from one another. That's only a part of that distrust game, right? But if we can go in and go, what makes us the same? Like, let us find our common ground here,
Yeah.
you know? And in that, whether it's science and spirituality or just people from different walks of earth or whatever, you can bring those things together and the world can become more cohesive simply because you're looking at what makes us the same.
Yeah, let's stop looking at what makes us different.
Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting too when you talk about like science and spirituality and having to prove it and that sort of stuff. The one experience that I had on the Camino, and I will admit I was in a bad mood that day. I was like, I'm not putting up with shit from anybody. I chose to walk with my anger that day. I was, and I was having my breakfast, and a man had said to me, we were talking, and he asked me what I did for a living, and I was like, I'm a psychic medium and an energy healer and whatever. And he's like, oh, so you have life perfect? And I was like, no, I don't have life perfect. And he was like, well, how can you tell other people how to do their life if you don't have it figured out? Wow. And I was like, well, what do you do? And he's like, I'm a gym teacher. And I was like, oh, so you're a pro athlete? And he was like, no. And I said, oh, so you play sports though? Well, no. I said, so how can you teach children how to do athletic stuff if you don't play sports? Well, I know how to play sports. And I'm like, and I know how to do life. Yeah. Right? Like, I don't think any of us expect a phys ed teacher to be the most physically fit, always healthy, never sick, has played every single game ever professionally, but we do seem to expect that when it comes to people who are working in energetics and psychic. And I get it, because we need to have clean energy. I do get that. We're playing with someone's life, essentially, right? So we have to make sure that we're doing it correctly. However, I think to believe that we have it all figured out is a blasphemy.
I think we do that with everything.
Yeah.
With every title, yes. as a manager, there's an expectation. And when I break that expectation, when I say to people, no, I'm not perfect, or yeah, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
You make mistakes? Yeah, I'm human.
See,
like,
I don't know.
Like, I haven't perfected everything that there is I have for what I am here to do at this very moment.
Yeah.
But I'm not the all of all. And
I don't know, like, I just find it so wild because it's like when I take my vehicle to the garage, I am not asking the mechanic, has your car ever broken down? It has? Are you kidding me? You're a mechanic. What do you mean you've had flat tires before? What do you mean your oil had to get... Like, it's ridiculous to judge someone on their profession.
It's amazing what we have expectations about and what we don't, right? Like...
Yeah, I mean, I assume doctors get sick. I assume mechanics have vehicles that break down. I assume grocers get hungry. Do you know what I mean? That we're all humans, and just because we've chosen a profession does not mean that we're absolute experts in being able to fill. It's like the cancer surgeon who has cancer,
yeah,
right? Or the heart surgeon who has a heart attack. Like, these aren't human faults. These are human experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where...
I get passionate about it.
Well, I agree. It is something to be passionate about because it is one of those distortions where it's like, again, going back to expectations. Expectations are a distortion of what is.
Yeah, we get this idea of what something is supposed to look like.
Well, somebody has told us this is what this is supposed to look like, and this is how perfect this looks. That sets our expectation. If somebody doesn't meet every one of those little things, well, all of a sudden, you know what? You're not who I thought you were. You're, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah. It is so interesting. We do put a lot of false expectations onto people instead of even just inviting people to be like, so show me who you are then, right?
But even day to day, right? It's like, okay, you expect me to be this person.
Yeah.
When I wake up in the morning, what if I'm a different person?
Yeah. Well, because we always have a choice of who we're going to be. Every single day we have an opportunity to become a brand new person. But sometimes we get so in our comfort zone that we think we can't change, or others just start to expect that we won't change. And then if we do actually start to change, then they're like, what is happening? Why are you changing? Go back to this thing that I've come to expect you to be all day, every day.
But then we tell people to grow and evolve.
Yeah.
But don't evolve past the point that I want you to evolve.
Don't evolve past my comfort zone.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just...
It's so interesting. It is so interesting because I can see too, like, where I also would have these kind of false expectations on people that you've been this person, so why are you not being this person now, right? Yeah. And you showed up this way last time, so why are you not showing up like this now? And I know we've talked about this on our podcast, and we're just going to keep on saying our same points over and over again. Because why wouldn't I want to get to meet you as a brand new person every single day?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I remember the first day that we met and that big gush of love that was just like, oh, here's my person, right? Why not experience that over and over and over and over again? And yes, now I've got a data bank that tells me these are all of the things that John is, but also let me meet you as a brand new person today.
Yeah.
And I think it's difficult when you're in relationships with people for a long time. You do kind of come into these roles and these kind of...
But we can say that about everybody. It's not just...
That's what I'm saying. It's like all relationships that have been for longer than a day, right? It does start to become, they'll say this, I'll say this, we'll act like this, they'll do this, I'll react this way. Like it becomes almost from a place of non-awareness.
Yeah. But I'm saying it's even not just relations, it's what your basis of this is. Like somebody that's practicing this faith or that faith, or somebody that's this color or that color. Your now you're creating that as well, right?
Yeah.
That's why I say when we were talking last week about labels and are so dangerous, because now you've got a predetermined idea of what that person is. Now you've set an expectation.
Yeah.
And if they don't meet every single thing, or if they are on the opposite side of that, it's a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
And we just accept that we all just are, and we have the capacity to be this today and that tomorrow. I accept that. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me who you are.
Yeah. Well, and I think that would be the most beautiful question to ask anybody, repeatedly. Like, tell me who you are.
Yeah.
And who are you becoming? Like, I think that's a big question too, is who are you becoming, right? Because let me witness you becoming that, and let me support you as this version that you're wanting to be, right? So I could go...
Let me understand, right? Let me...
Yeah.
Then why not?
Yeah.
That's probably the most loving thing we can do, is to understand one another, is to, on all levels, as much as we want to, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Because, yeah, I think becoming someone new can be a difficult path for people, right? Because you're now coming up against all of your old programs. Yep. You're coming up against all of the old ways that other people used to see you. And so if you're like, I'm becoming a more healed version of myself, then as someone who's witnessing you becoming a more healed version of yourself, I would have to be open to, what does this healed version look like today?
Yeah.
And what does this healed person look like today and today and today? And constantly let me witness your becoming. And in those moments where you might be frustrated or disappointed or whatever, because maybe the healing work isn't happening as fast, or maybe your mom still sees you the way she did when you were 2, or whatever the case might be, it would be me kind of reminding you, remember, this is who you're becoming.
Yep.
Right? Like, you're on this path. You're on the right path.
Well, and I think it's interesting because what you just said about, we can't control other people's perspective of us, right? No matter if I say to everybody in the world, hey, yeah, you know what? I've had changes in my life and this is who I am now. They're going to see me how they want to see me. And if it's, like you said, with my mom, this is how she's going to, and that's how they're going to accept me.
Yeah.
And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It may not be the most accurate, but wanting to understand whatever that is, like where you are, and know that person now.
Yeah.
That, to me, that's where we as a society need to go. Not just go, oh, you're this person and you've always been this person.
Yeah.
Really, when you sit down and you have these conversations with people, friends, family, whatever. Oh, how are things going? Good. What's new? Not much. If we could actually sit down and have a conversation, much like we do, where it's like, hey, what's going on? What is really going on?
Yeah.
What are you thinking about? What is it? Because we'll get these looks where it's like we're looking off into the distance, and I'm like, oh, what's going on in there? I can feel it. I can sense it. There's, you got some ideas going around.
Yeah.
And have those conversations.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid. Yes, it kind of sounds silly, like when you say it, but it's like, no, it's important.
It absolutely
to get to know who those people are and those things.
Yeah, yeah, and creating that space for them to be able to express it, right? Because I've been a deep thinker my entire life, and it came in handy as I stepped into doing the work that I do. Mm-hmm. But I've found myself specifically, I would say in the last 4 to 5 years, being able to embrace it more because you've opened up your curiosity to understand what's going on in here, right? And without someone being able to witness that, and now I feel like we're like the people who have gone mad in the movies, who've got like the big diagrams and stuff with like the red thread and everything that's connecting everything together. But I love being able to do that. I love being able to go like, these are my big thoughts about this situation, which is connected to these emotions, which is connected to this thing in the past, this thing in the world, and like it literally is like, what do you call that, a Venn diagram? I think.
I'm not sure.
Anyways, a spider web of thoughts, whatever you want to call it, a mind map. Yeah. But being able to have that witness is such a gift, I think. And I don't know that a lot of people get that. I don't know that a lot of people want to dive deep, or maybe they're scared to dive deep. It's like diving into the deep end for the very first time. You know, am I going to drown there?
Well, I don't think a lot of people vocalize the voice in their head, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it is scary. And I think they don't have, a lot of people don't have a safe space to do that. But this is where we need to move as, you know, as a society and whatnot, as just in this, our race, just our humanness. Yeah. We need to know we all go through this. We all have these voices. We all have these experiences, and it's okay to talk about them.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a huge piece. It's okay to talk about it, right? And to trust that whoever you're talking about it to, no matter what they're saying to you, and this is hard, no matter what they're saying, no matter how they are responding, I have to say that it's always with the intention to love you.
Yeah.
Right? Which is wild, because sometimes it does not look like love, and sometimes it's hard to experience it as love. And I would look at, like, when I was a teen, right? And there was a guy I wanted to date, and my parents didn't like him. They told me, we don't like him. And I was like, oh, he's great.
You don't understand.
Yes, you don't understand. I don't care if he's older, blah, blah, blah. I don't care that he gave you attitude. I don't care that he was a complete jerk to you guys. I love this guy, whatever. My parents were trying to love me. Yeah. They were trying to protect me. And because I was so focused on what I wanted, I could not receive that as a loving act from them, right? Good thing to keep in mind when you're raising teenagers, right? Yeah. But also to keep in mind for anybody that if they are so focused on what they want, no matter how you bring that love forward to them, they may not be able to receive it. And they might think this is the opposite of love. This is not what love is supposed to look like. You're my parents. You're supposed to support me in whatever relationships I want to go into. No, they're not. Yeah. You know? So. Yeah.
And I know you and I have had very, very deep conversations trying to trace back love, even in some of the worst things that have happened in this world. And it's like, yeah, but there's love there.
Yes.
But there's love there.
Yes.
And I would challenge people to do that. Take some of these atrocities that have gone and try to find the love. Yeah. Yes, some of the worst things that you can think of, there is love there.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking like desire, I'm talking true love, the love component that...
like love consciousness. Yeah. And I think too, if you're going to do that, look at who were you expecting the love from, and what did you expect the love to look like, and what was your own mindset at that time. Because sometimes we can go through these experiences and we might not be able to get the love that we need from the person that we think you're supposed to be the one that's giving me the love right now. But then we've got 5 strangers on the street
on this side
that are like, hey, come into our house, we'll give you food, here's a bed, here's some clothes, whatever. And they're doing the most loving acts, and it's like, well, that's fine, thank you.
No, I'm focusing on this.
Yeah, it's like, I'll receive this, but also I'm dying inside because what I really wanted it from was this over here. And I think we can so often get so lost in life by focusing on where we think we're supposed to get the thing from, and we ignore all of the ways that it's actually coming to us. So we could use the example of money, right? If I go, I want to make $10,000 and I'm going to do it from this means right here. I'm going to, I don't know, make a picture, and I'm going to create copies of the picture, and I'm going to send 10,000 or sell 10,000 pictures for $1 a piece, right? And then I might sell 2, and I've got $2, and then I'm like, oh, see, money never works in my favor. Meanwhile, the next day I get a check for $500, but it's not from the sale of this picture, and I'm like, see, money doesn't support me. And then I get a coupon in the mail for a tire change, and I needed to get a tire change, and it's like, well, the abundance is there. And then a neighbor comes by with a bag of apples, and now I've got free apples. And if I keep focusing on I wanted to sell that picture and 10,000 of that picture, I am going to ignore all of the abundance that's available to me. Yep. But if I can go, I need to manifest $10,000, and now I've sold 2 pictures, and I've got a bag full of apples, and I've got a half off tire change, and I've got the check for $500. Like, look at all of this abundance. Look at all of the ways that the universe is supporting me so that I can get to that $10,000. And it just really makes life more simple, where we're not looking at it from needs to come from this, but I'm open to all of the ways it's going to come at me. So, yeah.
I agree.
Alrighty. So I think that's it for today.
Yep.
We went on a tangent. So thanks for joining us here again for another week, everybody. As always, if you want to drop your likes, your comments, your questions down below, that would be great. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next week on The Sacred Exchange.
Take care, folks.
Bye.